We are in the middle of a crisis, and the sad thing is that we might have got here because political hostility on Uhuru Kenyatta's programs. Millers are saying, or rather millers have refused to import the GMO maize despite of getting a nod from government. And the National Cereals Board are saying, we don't have enough. We only have maize that can sustain us to the end of March. Now, we voted for GMO because that was supposed to help us solve high prices of the maize. But what I'm going to show you in this video is direct opposite of what we actually said was going to happen as far as the price of this important product is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bold Analysis. I want to first start asking you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. For those who normally like the issue-based analysis in terms of economics, or rather the price analysis, then this one is here for you. If you're new, kindly subscribe. We do it differently, and I can promise you that this is another. But now, the issue about maize was central to Ruto administration.
Tunaanza kubadilisha uchumi kwa kupunguza gharama ya maisha. Hapo ndio tunaanzia, kwa sababu wananchi wengi leo hawawezi kununua chakula. Bei ya unga imepanda, bei ya mbolea imepanda, bei ya mafuta imepanda, bei ya petroli imepanda. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ni kweli ama si kweli? 2018 kabla ya handshake, bei ya unga ilikuwa shilingi 90. Leo bei ya unga ni 200 kwenda mbele. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Mimi nawatangazia ndugu zangu watu wa Nairobi, tumesema kama Kenya Kwanza, vile tulifanya pale nyuma, tunazalisha chakula ya kutosha kwa kumsaidia mkulima na mbegu na mbolea na usaidizi na kuondoa brokers na kuondoa makatel, ili mkulima apate bei ya sawasawa na chakula ifike hapa sokoni ikiwa bei nafuu, ili kila Mkenya aweze kulisha familia yake na tuondoe aibu ya njaa katika taifa letu la Kenya.
That was back then, last year. Ministry of Agriculture, which is where the National Cereals Board falls under, told the president that they were running out of maize in their stock, and they only had 6 million bags of maize, which can only serve us until the end of March. So the president convened a meeting in State House 2 weeks ago, and he was meeting maize millers, largely from the larger Rift Valley region. And he was asking them, why is it that they were reluctant, or why they had refused to import maize, and they were given a nod, knowing very well that the supply is going down, or rather is depreciating. You know, what is happening is this. National Cereals Board is supposed to be a reservoir, as in one wanna keep for emergencies, and when to help control the prices, they play with the supply and demand curve strategy. So when President William Ruto met them, he actually was told the reality that the GMO was a blunder because it killed the supply chain. And I want to tell you why. This is where the problem started.
Si kusema kuna kitu ambao kuna story ambao hatuongei. Hiyo story ndio kwanza nataka tuongee hiyo story. Na hiyo story ni mambo ya mbolea. Hiyo story ni mambo ya mbegu. Na najua wengi wenu mmeuza mahindi. Kuna wale bado wamekalia mahindi. Acha nikwambie hiyo mahindi wale wamekalia. Shauri yenu. kuna mtu atapea mbwa. Wale wameuza mahindi, najua wameuza mahindi. Wale hawajauza hii mahindi kama iko kwa soko, tukifika mwezi ya pili, kama hakuna jambo lingine inaendelea, hii Kenya tutakuwa na upungufu wa magonia milioni 15. So mimi nataka tukubaliane, watu watoe mahindi. Mahindi ikuje. Serikali haitatumia hata $1 moja kununua mahindi. Hata ile nasema kuleta kutoka nje, sio serikali inaleta. Mimi nasema mtu alete.
When Moses Kuria was speaking there, he was telling farmers, he was giving farmers 72 hours ultimatum to sell their maize, because at that point they were hoarding it. And it was during the GMO debate. And I can tell you, when government recklessly spoke about, when government spoke about the GMO, we told farmers to release the maize or we will import, and when we import, watabaki na mahindi yao. In fact, the strategy was coercion. It was some sort of blackmail of the farmers. Why am I saying blackmail? It was blackmail because Kuria is from the Ministry of Trade, but he was under the Ministry of Agriculture. And I remember us raising the question, why Kuria? It was a strategy to punish, or rather to push the farmers. So what did the farmers do? They decided to sell their maize to millers and traders, not to the National Cereals Board. Why? Millers and traders were giving better prices and also prompt payment wakibai. Remember, one of the challenges that has affected the maize production in the larger rift is the politics of payment. Either it's paid low, or pay in a take time for you to get that payment. So they opted to buy to those millers and traders. Now, what did the millers and traders do? They kept the maize. After keeping the maize, President gave them a nod, because despite of what we produced, hata wakinunua haitoshi. So Ruto akawambia they go and they buy the imported duty free. What did they realize? That at the market, price is higher, and it's now being sold at 90 kg. The 90 kg bag of maize, the cost of importation is at 6,000. That is way higher. And if they are to import at that price, then I can tell you that the price of unga could retail as higher as 260. If they import at 260, then you include the cost of crushing, sourcing, crushing, and distribution. Then the retailer who is supposed to sell to the consumer might retail at 260. Retailer is you now going to buy. So, in short, ile mahindi tuliambiwa kwamba it's GMO because it's cheap was a lie. Hapo ndio tulichezewa. Let me put at this moment, let me put this disclaimer. The discussion about GMO being unsafe or safe was settled. We all agreed that hakuna mtu atamea matiti kwa sababu ya GMO. But then Ruto made this statement that tunaileta kwa sababu it was cost effective in the market. Listen to this clip. Now, that is what happened. The cost of sourcing and it being included in it, it's not going to improve. Remember, just 3 weeks ago, the HOS said, HOS is head of state, said that in the next, I think in June, the price of unga is supposed to go down. Was also making the projection. The short trends that we have been praying about are not promising. That's it. They're not promising, and we still don't have enough produce. So let me tell you the gains. The maize, the traders, the millers and traders have declined to import. They are reluctant to import the 10 million bags of maize that they were allowed to import duty-free and the GMO, because they're saying the price is high. You know why? Wameweka ile mahindi walinunua from farmers. They've hoarded the maize, and the cereals board is now running dry. But they have realized that even if government will bypass ENA GMO, it is still relatively high. What is going to happen? The state might find themselves buying again from those millers, but at a higher price. The millers are negotiating for the prices. What next? There is a bid to cushion the consumer. Because if you don't cushion the consumer, the opposition is on the street reminding the masses that the prices of things are high. I saw a dangled proposal to recommendation to allow yellow maize to be used for human consumption. I don't know what to think about it. So what we produce as a nation, maybe someone is asking, what is the big problem? Kwani hatuna mahindi ya kutosha? According to data from the Ministry of Agriculture, we produce 30 to 40 million bags of maize annually. But with a deficit of 10 million, our consumption is around 50. So we produce around 30 to 40 million bags annually, but tunahitaji some 10 million. These 10 million bags, we normally import it from the East African Community and the COMESA member states. So that COMESA member states, that 10 million, ndio sasa Ruto alikuwa anasema, we go and import it from other countries that now give us GMO. The 10 million is what was supposed to be the GMO. The traders have refused to bring it because wanasema price iko juu and hawatakubaliwa ku retail at a higher price. Now, the Rift Valley farmers, the production of maize has been declining because of two reasons. Number one, people have opted out of maize farming because of the endless maize politics. It did not start now. We have to be all fair. It did not start with Kenya Kwanza. It started way back and it has never come to an end. And then Kenya Kwanza might have worsened it, and that's the truth. They might have worsened it by the way they handled it casually and the activism against subsidies. I will tell you why, what is behind why I'm making that premise. The talks of and because farmers wengi walikataa sasa wameacha kulima mahindi, that is why William Ruto has opted to increase maize production by now tilling government land. The Gulana Kulalu project and other, now trying to bring in irrigation farming, because over dependence on the rainfall farming on the rain is not working. The weather is very unpredictable, and again, even the rainfall is not enough. So we've gone for the irrigation farming. However, we have to start by dams, which to the best of my knowledge, not even the first dam is complete. So why I normally say, and people follow the ball, I normally say, the price of unga will not go down. What we just needed to do is to fix the problem of people not having money, so that hata kama price ya unga itakuwa ina retail at 260, lakini watu wakuwe na pesa. Leta ile kazi mtaani, vijana wakuwe na pesa. Review in terms of the labor market, so that when the labor market is friendly, no one is going to complain. There is no problem if we can afford the maize, even if it's going to be higher. Then, this is what again happened. In Western Kenya, there is failure of orphan crops. Total failure of the orphan crops. Orphan crops are the sorghum, millet, beans, potatoes, and also one that is not an orphan crop but there is also declining is the ngwashes from the central. But with the death of the orphan crops, everyone is looking at the maize. So it has piled pressure on the maize. An alternative of the maize is supposed to be wheat, and also the price is up because of the cost of production. The same thing is going on. So an alternative of maize is supposed to be wheat, but hiyo pia imeenda chini. And again, a bigger part of our wheat we import. It is affected by the international forces. Ladies and gentlemen, let us just say it as it is. America conned us. We were conned, and the biggest con Tagari was that bring GMO because GMOs are cheap. They are not. Our traders, millers, ni kama wamekataa kutoa mahindi yao. Lakini now that is not even the problem. Ile yenye wanafaa import the 10 million, we cannot get it at a lower price. Or rather at a relatively lower price that can help us control the prices. So, when we were told that I'll lift the ban on GMO so that you import it, we knew that first we were going to import as a lesser, as a cheaper price that will help us control the prices. But then when the farmers went to do sourcing, they realized there's no cheap GMO. So in fact, tuliambiwa tu ili walete mahindi yao. This is it. We rushed the subsidy program. You know, I totally agree with the president that the subsidy was expensive. It was expensive and it was not sustainable. But, you know, I agree with the premise that it benefited some people, some few individuals that maybe are in the maize sector. But that did not mean that it was wrong. It only meant that yule mwenye maybe alikuwa anaifanya hakuifanya vizuri. What we needed to do is to just have the subsidy, but then make sure that to remove the cartels that are eating the money so that the impact can be felt. But tulitoa totally, and scrapping it is hurting the population. Before we know, Ruto will have to accept that Uhuru premised that the price of grain was affected by the global forces was not a lie. The last days when Uhuru was leaving power, Uhuru was telling this country that si mimi nilienda Ukraine nimeleta vita ndio maana prices za vitu ziko juu. If you remember that clip. Si mimi nilikuwa Ukraine bei za vitu zikiwa juu. And the Kenya Kwanza by that time were in the campaign telling him that wewe usituambie mambo ya Europe, mahindi hapa inakuwa affected, and we seem to have had a problem. But in real sense, that's what we got up with. The prices are up because of the global forces. The global north. The global north is what has caused it. Then, I can tell you, the population will continue revolting. That's now the tragedy. The population will revolt. I think someone should tell the president that those who are telling him, ignore Raila, ignore what Raila is saying, even though now Raila should not even think about sitting to table. I don't think it's the right time to go to sit to table with president, because ataonekana ni kama abandon wananchi. Some other forces will emerge and now even pushing a very good narrative against William Ruto that the prices are not going to go down anytime soon. And the unga, the sufuria guys that are behind the sufurias will actually get traction. Because if the prices go up as early as March, what do you expect? Production scale up that we are talking about by government is a good gamble. I wish we actualize it. The only thing that is going to help us, yes, we have a good strategy to subsidize consumption, subsidize production. Do it. In fact, in terms of now we have budget process going on, make more priority on that production, because as tumepata price ya maize inakuwa affected na nje. And in fact, for that good gamble to work, tell this to the president, let government invest in that sector. Wachana na ile PPP. Leave alone the PPP. PPP is private partnership, public-private partnership, where government inapeana shamba, then private proprietors wanapanda mahindi, then they're gonna sell. That model is not going to work because President Ruto, the same people that are getting involved in that PPP are the same guys in the best sector. So they will still play games. If Ruto can listen to what I'm saying, and someone, I know Gashaka normally says tusiwaambie the way things should be done. Let's not tell them. But this is just my proposal as what I'm saying. Just the same way we have invested in health, we have NHIF, even though it has its own flaws. The same way we have tried to invest in education, even though it has its own challenges, let us go and invest in the maize supply chain. And the best way to invest, ile shamba ya gava, ile pesa tuko nayo, the subsidy that we've scrapped, let's take the 2 billions, the 20 billions, and take it there for maize farming. Waende walime. As hata tukingoja kutengeneza dam, which will be a long run because dam is a long project, the short trains, government yenyewe ipande mahindi. Ile pesa, that billions, so that when government produces its own maize, the government might not be the business of making money, of making profits, but itasaidia the serious board ipate mahindi, and as we also create, tukiwa na availability, we shall control the prices. That's my take. But why has the industry collapsed? Why do you think it has collapsed? I want to look at comment section. People who understand the politics of maize, I want to hear what you're saying in the comment section. That's my take.